On the evening of November 9, 2022, 220 invited guests gathered to see the handover of the FA-18 Hornet A2132 to the South Australian Aviation Museum. The evening was introduced by the current president of the South Australian Aviation Museum, Nigel Daw.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to you all for this special event for the handover of this magnificent aeroplane.
A2132 spent 25 years at RAF Base Edinburgh as a test aircraft with ARDU, the Aircraft Research and Development Unit. Only 3 Australian museums were gifted FA-18s, so the South Australian Aviation Museum is keenly aware of the importance of taking charge of what is now an iconic jet fighter in RAF history. It was RAF Heritage who oversaw the transfer of A2132 to the museum, and Boeing then facilitated the logistics of moving what is still a highly technical and large flying machine. 6 weeks were spent by Boeing technicians setting up the aircraft in SAM's main hangar.
Looking around the room, I can clearly see the passion and enthusiasm for aviation heritage that has brought us together today. Air Force has a large presence and a long history in South Australia. We're very proud of the special relationship that we are developing with the SAM as a reputable, well-supported and professional aviation museum located close to and supportive of one of our major bases.
Retired Squadron Leader Jim Wally was on hand to MC proceedings and was one of the pilots entrusted to fly A2132 during its time at ARDU.
Everyone here is very, very important to the museum, to the aviation community, and I'd like to welcome you all.
The aircraft also saw another milestone with Flight Lieutenant Emily Willis in control as the RAF's first female frontline combat fast jet pilot.
Em was one of the first 2 women and the only 2 women to graduate as fighter pilots in the RAF, and is the last custodian of Hornet 32. So Em, great to see you here, and I also know Em's got her parents here too, so I'm sure they're very proud as well, so great to see you.
The formal handover was by Air Commodore Robert Lawson, who handed the paperwork to the Premier of South Australia, Peter Malinauskas.
I would like to take the opportunity to acknowledge the extraordinary work here at the South Australian Aviation Museum from the President, Mr Nigel Daw, also from the Chair of the South Australian Aviation Museum Foundation, Mr David Byrne. To Air Commodore Rob Lawson, thank you for your words, but more importantly, thank you for the extraordinary privilege that we'll talk about in a moment. When I was first allowed to put posters on my wall, my bedroom wall at home, it was less of cricketers and footy players and planes, things to inspire me to take up this line of work. And I remember he came home with a massive poster, it was pretty large, of an F-18 Hornet, and it was pride and place in the centre of my wall for a long period of time. But this plane was acquired in 1981 as part of a 75 Hornets that were acquired at the time, and it came into active service for our nation in 1988. About the exact same time that poster went up on my bedroom wall.
The museum has grown from an idea and a few exhibits to become one of the best aviation museums in Australia. I say that, I'm a little biased, of course. But due to some of the projects, such as the Fairy Battle, we get a lot of international attention as well. It's worth noting that this museum is still one of the few that has achieved National Museum Accreditation standard.
After the formalities, the Premier jumped at the chance to sit in the FA-18's cockpit and get a briefing from Jim Wally.
So you described the afterburner.
Yeah.
So is that a button you press or something?
No, what you'll find here is just
How's your inner 10-year-old feeling at the moment?
Oh, buddy, it's as good as it's ever been, mate. I tell you what, this is bloody... No, look, honestly, this is absolutely amazing to be able to sit in what was a fully operational F-18.
Yeah, it was a year ago, yeah.
Only a year ago. It's absolutely amazing.
So do we now regret our choice of career path, Premier?
This would have been a lot more fun than politics, I'll give you a hot tip.
The Premier's got the second best job in the world.
This is true.
You know you are old when the aircraft you used to fly are in the museum. And I'm starting to feel that now.
The Hornets handover follows on from the F111 and PC9 that also came via RAF Heritage and continues a firm relationship between the museum and the Royal Australian Air Force.
You could have knocked me over with a feather, Jim, but your name just happens to be on the side of this plane. Who would have thought? But indeed, it's utterly appropriate. So to you, Jim, and the whole team, congratulations. Thank you very much.